In the midst of MAGA chaos in the Republican Party, Republican Congressman Ken Buck is quitting next week, and he has torched Republicans on the way out and sets up radical and repugnant Republican Congresswoman Lauren Boebert to take an electoral pounding by putting her in a nearly impossible position. Let's take a look at what's going on. New York Times reports Ken Buck cuts short House term, leaving Republicans down yet another member. Remember that the Republican Party has a very small majority now, made even smaller by the expulsion of George Santos, of Oscar winner and director of photography George Santos, as many know him. This will leave Republicans controlling just 218 out of 435 seats. That is a slim, slim, slim majority. Now, Buck had already said, as the article points out, he would retire at the end of the term, citing his party's election denialism and refusal by many to condemn the riots on January 6th. But this now creates a very complicated situation because he's leaving next week for Lauren Boebert. Business Insider explains. Lauren Boebert says special election triggered by Ken Buck's resignation is swampy and could confuse voters. And that is indeed true. Representative Ken Buck is retiring, teeing up a special election in the 4th Colorado district on June 25. It could shake up the Republican primary where Boebert is running. So here's here's what's going on. Lauren Boebert is running in the competitive Republican primary in the 3rd district of Colorado, and the primary is on June 25th. On the same day, there is now going to be a special election to fill Buck's seat on June 25. And this is potentially going to get very, very complicated. The whole point here is let's do both elections on the same day in order to save money. And as Newsweek points out, Lauren Boebert gets put in a terrible position. Boebert faces a tricky decision. Buck, a Republican, announced he's retiring from his district. Boebert represented the 3rd district since 2021 and announced she is seeking the Republican nomination for Buck's district instead. I'm sorry, I might have said she's actually running in 3. She's moving from 3 to 4 and running in the primary for 4. But now there's a special election for 4. So this is now going to complicate things significantly. There is going to be a primary and a special election. And as Newsweek points out, Boebert faces the tough decision as to whether to stay the current course and seek the Republican nomination and contend for that seat in the general in November, or does she enter the special election? If Boebert were to enter the special election, she would have to give up her seat in the 3rd district. That seat would now be vacant, and it would require another special election, and that runs the risk she could lose that. So what should she do? I have absolutely no idea. But what this does reinforce is the possibility that come January of 2025, Lauren Boebert will not be a member of Congress. And that's a delightful possibility. Here's Ken Buck on CNN yesterday talking about his decision to leave and to leave now.
Republican of Colorado, you just came from the hearing. Before we get to that, you announced some big news. You're leaving Congress at the end of next week.
I am, yes. I'm resigning my seat and creating a vacancy in my district.
Why?
Well, everywhere I go in Colorado, Dana, I hear that people are not happy with Trump and they're not happy with Biden. And I think we need to change our electoral laws here. And I have a passion for that. And I'm going to leave and I'm going to find the right organization to join. And I'm going to start working on that issue. We have to have better candidates up and down the ballot, not just president, but Senate, House, local offices. We've got to find better ways to elect candidates and bring America together.
You already had announced that you were going to not run for re-election. Why leave now and leave a vacancy in an already very narrow majority for your party?
Yeah, because to me, it's important to get in the mix of this election cycle and start talking about the issues that people recognize are such a problem right now.
You know, my colleague Melanie Zanona is reporting that there is such tension among House Republicans that many of them aren't even going to a retreat that's going to happen at the end of this week. Is that tension part of why you're leaving so abruptly?
I think this place is dysfunctional. For example, I am the number 3rd ranking member of the Judiciary Committee. I haven't even asked my questions yet. 40, 50 people have gone before me.
So he's making it very clear that there is complete and total dysfunction in the Republican Party, and generally couching it as there's dysfunction in general. But here he says that this is as bad as it's been in 40 years.
Of the fact that you are leaving March 22nd, next Friday, how much does that have to do with the fact that Trump is the presumptive nominee and you're not exactly a fan?
Well, I don't think whether he was the nominee or not, I think our system is broken in how we choose candidates, and I want to get involved in that process.
Is it really that miserable right now to be, I mean, from the outside in, it doesn't look that fun. From the inside in, is it that bad that you're saying, I'm done?
It is the worst year of the 9 years and 3 months that I've been in Congress. And having talked to former members, it's the worst year in 40, 50 years to be in Congress. But I'm leaving because I think there's a job to do out there that I want to go do.
So listen, this is not about glorifying Ken Buck, but he's been willing to say some basic truths that many Republicans haven't. For that, it is certainly interesting that there is essentially no place left for him in the Republican Party. In a sense, it's similar to Mitt Romney, although not exactly the same. In terms of the majority, this leaves Republicans with a 2-seat majority in the immediate. And in terms of what it does to Lauren Boebert, hopefully it destroys her political career. So an interesting move. We will take a break and be back with much more right after this. Let me tell you about something I use every day just because it's a way I can simplify my life. And I'm looking for simple these days. I don't always perfectly plan every meal and calculate every vitamin and mineral and micro. I get close, but the reason I turn to our sponsor AG1 is that it makes it easy. Every morning before my cappuccino, I have a scoop of AG1 mixed into water. I get the 75 vitamins and minerals that I want from whole food sourced ingredients, and it's just so easy. You can't find a more comprehensive powder supplement on the market. I get my daily nutrients. I increase my vitamin, mineral, and antioxidant intake. AG1 is just easier and it's more cost effective than dealing with dozens of vitamin bottles and the whole thing. Just simplify things for yourself with AG1. 1 scoop a day. Get your nutritional bases covered. I recommend AG1 to friends. Many of them have picked it up and love it. Try AG1, get a free year supply of vitamin D3 and K2, plus 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first purchase at drinkag1.com/Pacman. The link is down below.